Welcome back.
Welcome back.
It's time
It's time
for the Royal Rumble. John Cena.
I don't know any other wrestlers.
Yeah, you do.
The Undertaker.
There you go. The Undertaker. The Undertaker.
Nice.
Yeah.
He was good. He was good.
Scary.
Just for dramatic value, he was great.
Yeah, he put on a show, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
And much like the Undertaker, we're
avoiding the Undertaker by not drinking.
That's right. We are talking specifically about why we have our relationship with alcohol, why we've chosen to our paths of sobriety, why we don't drink, why we don't consume alcohol, what our decisions were about doing that.
Yeah, because it wasn't always like that.
Certainly
it was
wasn't.
Not always the path of not drinking, being usually a couple of the only people that are not drinking in a lot of social settings.
I've got a great thumbnail for when we're just us on, just like totally off our heads,
pretending to be absolutely pissed.
Yeah, that'll be great. Yeah,
Perfect.
I'll have to remember that. Yeah.
But yeah, so today's episode is just basically about why we.
Today's episode is sponsored by Heineken.
Imagine. Have a good time with Heineken.
Oh, Coors Light. Yes, please.
But yeah, it's about why we don't drink, why we choose not to drink alcohol. And that's the same for like at home. We don't drink at home. We don't drink out.
No.
We don't drink on special occasions.
Totally
We're just teetotal, aren't we, really? You know, I mean, we drink coffee. Some people would be like, oh, well, that's a drug.
That has definitely become the staple drink of our choice.
It has.
But as I'm sure there's plenty of well-researched health benefits for coffee. Obviously, you know, you don't want to abuse anything, which I don't think we do. But we do consume coffee. But I don't think you could ever make the argument that coffee and alcohol are anything alike.
No, I think that's what I mean. If people are quite quick to jump to this thing of like, oh, well, you're on some stimulants and stuff because of coffee, then it's kind of like, oh, you know.
Well, you know, you meet those wankers that try and like they'll try and pick straws with fat. You know, they'll say stuff like, oh, well, you know, if you say, well, coffee comes from the ground, it's like, oh, well, tobacco comes from the ground.
Yeah.
And I think it's like those people are just in denial, and that's a real shame for them.
For sure, but this is a non-judgmental. This is a strictly non-judgmental place. Like, if you're listening to this and you're drinking right now, that's totally cool.
Just get a fucking grip, mate.
Get a grip, yeah, it's 2:00. But no, yeah, we don't want, the last thing we want with any of these episodes or anything in general is to come off like we're judging people, because, as I know, I don't feel like there's any real point in judging an individual on their decisions. Like, I wouldn't like to be judged on an individual decision that I've made, so it's, you know, it's not a judgment at all.
No, it's, well, I feel like there's a difference. Like we had this conversation in our last podcast where you'll come at things with more understanding, more empathy, and not that I won't, but it's like there's no judgment, not judge. You know, you can do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. Sure.
This is just our decision, and it's like it's quite an unheard voice. I think I mean, like a lot of the culture like that we'll go into is definitely not promoting not drinking. It's like quite the opposite. Like everywhere you look, everyone is promoting drinking and stuff like that.
You and I are going to be in the minority here, so it's not a judgment thing, but it's also a thing of like, I found that in my life it's like what is an interesting insight that's been useful to me is that someone will say that they don't do something, or they do something, so they exercise. And my initial thing is to come at them with some sort of, well, this was back in the day. My initial thing would be to come at them in a way where it's like, oh, well, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are that you oh yeah, you exercise. Oh, what, you're a gym head. That's all you do. You're just a big gym head. Or it's like, oh, you don't drink. Oh, good for you. Oh, good for you. But what amazing story started with, let's go and have a bottle of water.
Oh, so true. That's such a big, like, that's a really big, like, sort of propaganda thing, isn't it? Is drinking to like have a good time and make memories and stuff. And it's a really interesting conversation to have, I think.
Definitely. So, and just to finish that little thing, and that was always, that was an insight into me, because I was like, I got to a point where I was like, you know, that actually probably just says way more about me and what I'm
Yeah.
going through, and why the minute someone says that they don't do something that I do, or they do something that I should do, why is it that I come to them with instant dislike
Yeah.
or like, oh well, good for you or whatever? Why don't I come to that and go like, huh,
Interesting.
yeah, okay, why, tell me about that, how does that work for you and whatnot. So sometimes I think that mentality of like, hey, like, look, fine, you don't have it in you to take yourself seriously, you don't have it in you to confront yourself at that level yet, because maybe that's not where you are on your part of your journey. And sometimes it's useful to have someone step in and say like, hey, we should think about it.
Yeah.
You should, because like it's your life at the end of the day, and you only get one of them, and these are things that you should be thinking about. And sometimes it just takes that slightly firmer perspective of like, look, do what you want, but
yeah,
here you go.
or like a similar thing of like, look, do what you want, but if you're thinking to yourself right now like, oh, this podcast, this episode doesn't interest me because I drink, I enjoy drinking, I get a lot out of drinking, I'm not interested in what these two have to say, it's almost like, okay, that's totally okay, and if that's you, try. But also if it's like, even if that has gone through your head, it's like, okay, well, are you really that opposed to just listening to someone's opinion about something that is so like, it is a really interesting topic, and it can go kind of deep and like a bit dark, but then it's like you say, like if you aren't like ready to confront those things and have those difficult conversations like within yourself, it's like, oh, maybe this episode like is for you. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're so strongly on the other side, it's definitely always worth listening to someone else's opinion, especially when it's not hateful. You know what I mean? Like in any way we're trying to say like, oh look, just like give yourself that grace of like of trying to think and like live your life this way, instead of like, oh, hear us out, like this is why we hate this or we're against this. It's not that at all.
It doesn't come from a place of high and mighty. We have both been drinkers, we've both done that, we've been there. We've been those kind of people. It's for the benefit of like anything we say in these podcasts, it's from the benefit of, we've been in that place, life's been shit, very terrible and hard, and now we're trying to give you the insight as to what it looks like. So it's like, if you don't want to listen, then I feel bad for you, because like that shows probably that your mind is so wrapped up in all those negative things that you can't even stand the thought of someone talking about it. And you probably deep down know that it's not healthy what you're doing, and you want to make the change subconsciously, but your mind is too shrouded in like, no, we can't even consider that.
Like I would never think of that as just being on my radar, and it's like, okay, and it doesn't mean after listening to this that we're saying like, oh, never drink alcohol again. But even if it's like something that gives you a bit of food for thought, or it's like, I don't know, I do feel like sobriety is a hot topic at the minute. Like it's interesting to hear people's like experiences with people that are fully sober who are actively trying to not drink and stuff. Like luckily neither of us have ever really had serious problems with alcohol. Like neither of us have like been,
speak for yourself.
I mean, like neither of us have ever like been to like Alcoholics Anonymous, or like unless you haven't told me something.
The night of 3 beers.
Yeah, but it's a good one. I'm looking forward to it. Should we just flat out be like, oh, this is why we don't drink? Like, do you want to just say? So.
Again, I think I'm going to find it difficult. I think what I need to do is like, I'm trying to be mindful of how other people feel and where other people are at in their journeys. But I also, especially when it comes to things like this, I feel very compelled to be that voice of. Yeah. And I almost feel like what we're doing here is we're establishing this. You come at things with a quite nurturing attitude, and that's great. And I think sometimes I'll come at it from a bit of a harder perspective, not in a hard arsey way, but maybe we should lean into that a little bit, and just to see. I'm not going to start calling people names, so just being like, just
no just nasty name calling on this podcast.
No, there'll be none of that. But like, if you're a pisshead, you're a pisshead, aren't you? No,
but I know what you mean. I think there's pros and cons to both, isn't it? And like,
yeah, definitely, yeah.
When people are full on alcoholics, it's like, God, I feel lucky that I am not in a position in my life where I have turned to alcohol, or where I've not suffered serious hardship in my life that's meant that I've become an alcoholic. So it's like, who am I to sit at a place and be like, "Oh, I don't drink, like I'm so like well-rounded." And it's like, yeah, but have you even considered what people have really gone through in their life to
Yeah.
get to that point
Yeah.
of where
Yeah.
they're alcoholics or
Yeah. And the
so I guess I
trauma.
just try and think, yeah, people are traumatized, like everyone's traumatized, like
Yeah.
you know, I do try and think of it from that perspective, but then I do sometimes run the risk of like maybe myself included, like making excuses for myself and thinking something can work for some people, but I might not include myself in that. So it kind of gives me a bit of a pass. It gives me like, it's like, oh, but. So I don't know. I think we have a nice, we have a nice balance of that.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. But anyway, so why don't you start? Why don't you tell me what, why is it you don't drink? What is your main couple of reasons why that's
It's so tough. Like, even when I think about like why I don't drink, it's like, I don't know. I don't drink because I don't like the culture of drinking. Like, I don't like when you're out and about, like you're walking through town, or you sort of see people and like they're drinking a lot. And that's what I mean, like when people are like, oh, like I feel like most people do drink a lot. Like when I think back to when I used to drink, if we would go in the pub with a few people, I might have like a pint or like a cup, maybe like a pint and a half or something, and I'd be like, "Whew, like I've drank." But to most people, like people are like drinking and knocking a lot of drinks back, like pint after pint after pint, or wine bottles, like bottles of wine and stuff of an evening. So it's like I just feel like with most things, I try and not be all or nothing, but I do think with alcohol, it's like not that having one glass is the same as having a bottle, but I definitely used to have this thing where I'd be like, I'd drink a little bit and then be like, oh, like I'm really feeling the effects of this right now. Like I'm feeling this buzz in my head that I don't like.
Yeah.
I'm feeling rubbish the next day. Like despite however much I drink, I would feel hungover.
Yeah, I know.
Which was always really bad.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that's one of the reasons. I just think why put yourself through that unpleasant experience? Like what is the point? Do you know what I mean? Nobody would do something that is actively like unpleasant for themselves.
Yeah.
For like a good reason.
Right,
it's tough. Yeah. So I guess it's like I don't really enjoy the feeling. I don't enjoy what it means where like, you're around someone that's had a few drinks and they start like chatting pure shit and they'll just say things that they would never ever say to you on a regular day. They'll act in a way that they would never act in. And people just don't even care. They're like, haha, like so funny, like they're drunk, or oh my God, like they were saying this to me, and the next day they're like, oh my God, I don't even remember saying that, like haha. I just hate this whole hate the whole facade of people getting themselves to a point where they're not remembering what they say or do. They're putting themselves at risk. They're putting other people at risk. They're making an absolute fool of themselves. And I just get like raw secondhand embarrassment, I think, as well. Like
I totally see that.
You don't see it until you're on the other side of it, though, because when you're also drunk or you're also tipsy, it's like the funniest thing in the world. But then it only takes one time to be around someone and see how they act drunk and be like, oof, that's bad. Like I don't want to associate with you.
You're so right. You're so right. I wish I was like, I wish there was because you could make the argument that it's like, okay, it's good for social lubrication or whatever.
I disagree
as well.
So
I mean that's what a lot, but I feel like if there was any argument for it, that is generally what the stance
people will say.
That people
they're like, oh, it lowers your inhibitions. Like you're more chatty, you're more talkative, and I'm like, okay, like I understand that point of view, but I think it's kind of like it's basically saying that it's like alcohol is like a band-aid on something that's wrong with you already. Like if you're not,
that's great.
You know what I mean? If you're not a social person, if you're not a super outgoing and chatty person, but then you have a few drinks, then suddenly you feel chatty, it's false because it's not really who you are. And
then your whole social life is false.
And then your social life is false. You're hanging around with people and getting drunk with people, and it's like, could you have this type of conversation or you know, could you feel this comfortable around these people if you weren't drunk? And it's like, yeah, it's like putting on a fake personality for the night and then doing and saying things and then like getting away with it, because then the next day it's like you don't have to take any accountability or responsibility.
Hate that.
Yeah. It's so how quickly negative it becomes to even think and talk about it. Like,
I know, it's really
I'm feeling frustrated in myself right now. I thinking back to so many instances where it's like,
tell me about it.
It's hard though. You gotta try and stay posy, folks.
You see, this is what I mean about the whole but sometimes I feel like you've got to lean it, because people,
it's so tough.
Sometimes
Can I have some of this pommy juice?
Yeah, sometimes pomegranate juice, fantastic, full of antioxidants.
Not sponsored.
You would probably say, oh, it's full of sugar, but it's not refined sugar and it's natural. That's just 100% pomegranate juice. Try substituting your alcohol for pomegranatejuice.com, and Meg. It's lovely, isn't it? And Meg's taking some just vitamins there, A to Z's, cod liver oil.
Freezing.
It's just a few ice cubes.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, but no, because I feel like sometimes you have to take this stance where it's like, look, this.
Can I finish this?
Yeah, drink it all. Yeah, it's only £4.50 a bottle. If you take that stance,
it's cheaper than a pint.
Yeah, literally. I honestly feel as if that, like, and especially look, we're English. The bedrock cornerstone of our culture is you come in the pub, you go into the club on the weekend, you're going out. It's all alcohol. That's what our entire social structure is. Like, every single person I know that's not me and you drinks.
Yeah. Family.
No, my mum and dad don't. But family, relatives, friends. Everybody drinks. Every single person drinks, and it's the corner. You come in the pub, you're going out, blah blah blah. This, that, and the other. And people don't seem to realize that there are basically every avenue that I think of with alcohol leads to toxic behavior. You basically, and I do mean this with a full heart, and I mean this wholeheartedly, and I mean this as a friend. If you drink and you drink. I want to say excessively, but I think generally speaking, people in the UK drink excessively and they won't even know about it. Yeah. Especially people our age, they will probably be drinking the level of like you'd say you're an alcoholic. They'd be like, I'm not an alcoholic, and it's like, no, what you binge drink on the weekends, you probably have a few pints throughout the week. That's alcoholic level. Yeah. If you drink, you're a mug. Okay, and I can genuinely.
That's not what I thought you were gonna say.
What did you think I was gonna say?
I thought you were gonna say like if you drink, like you poison your body, like, which is true.
Yeah, well,
you're a mug.
So I think I can give you like 10 reasons as to why you're a mug, and I'll try and reel them off as quickly as possible.
Love it. I love it.
You're poisoning your body.
Yeah.
So that's so just true. Like alcohol is a poison. It has to be processed. It's a toxin. You're aging yourself. At a faster rate. You're putting more stress
physically and mentally, like killing brain cells. You're gonna get haggard.
Brain atrophy is proven with people that drink alcohol, and you can literally drink. Go and listen to any podcast. Andrew Huberman is great for this. He talks about how you don't need to be a massive drinker. You don't need to be an alcoholic, but small amounts of alcohol can literally lead to brain atrophy. So that's just the death of brain cells, which can't be regained. So you poison yourself. You're also playing into a system, right, where why do you think it is that that alcohol is so big in the UK and drinking culture's everywhere, but I think in the UK it's very big.
It's really toxic in the UK as well.
Super toxic, and it's like did it ever occur to you that what it might be is it might be a way that it basically keeps you on your senses dulled, so that you can quite happily go out and do your day-to-day life that you're probably not happy with, no judgment, because we've been these people. You'll do your day-to-day life, you're not really happy with it, but it's okay, because you can get to go to the pub at the end of the day, and you can get to drink, and you can get to smoke, and you can get to run the slot machines and play pool, or you go to a festival and you drink, and you're basically dumbing down your senses to the point where it's like, this is my life's acceptable because it's all right. It's like I don't really know what I want, but you've got the alcohol there, which dulls everything down.
And alcohol is a downer, isn't it? It's a suppressant. Even though people can get people have a feeling, then they get a bit buzzed and stuff, but it does numb.
That's it. Yeah, a numbing agent, right?
It's mental when you think about it like that.
And it's like that. Then you start getting into more about society and culture. Then you start getting into the idea of like, well, look, in the majority of people probably aren't going to be happy with their lives. So you do that, and it's like, well, you get a lot of people in a pub that aren't happy, and they're probably going to drink, and they're probably going to, you know, and they're probably going to give that pub a lot of money. And especially in the UK, where it's like there's a pub on every corner, there's a bar on every corner, there's a club, there's a nightclub, you know, it's everything is centered around that. And it's probably playing on and taking advantage of the fact that you're probably not totally loving every element of your life.
You're not thriving.
You're not thriving.
So it's like, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And again, this isn't me coming down hard. These are the people that we've been, and it takes a lot for you to wake up and be like, hold on a minute, what am I doing? Why am I poisoning my body? Why am I playing into this regime? Also, have you ever noticed when you get into a pub, if you ever say the words "I don't drink" or "I'm not drinking," see what the people around you will say, because it's very unlikely that you'll get, even if it's especially if it's your friends, you probably won't get them going, "Hey, well in, mate." You know,
it's very rare for that.
That is something I've been wanting to do that for ages, but it's just really hard. Can you help me? Should we help each other? What you'll get is, "Are you gay?"
Yeah, are you gay? What is the matter with you?
I've literally, so I was in a pub playing, and I don't say the "are you gay" flippantly. A guy said to me, he was like, "So, what you fucking having? What you fucking drinking?" I was like, "Oh no, I just have water. I don't drink." He was, "Anyway, are you fucking gay?" And I was like, yeah, I stuck dick, and and I love it, and that corresponds with me not drinking, and it's so toxic, because in that moment I genuinely felt really taken. I was like, how dare you put me on this, like, and of course it was a pub in the back end of Walton, and it's like, and then it becomes a thing of like, oh fuck, I probably should get a drink because this looks like it could turn a bit, but it's like, who are you, like, you know,
horrifying thought of someone could see that, and like they identify it as like weakness, you know,
difference. It's like
difference, and like, I don't like that. Like there's something wrong with you, or you're looking down at me. I think that's a lot of it. People don't like to be made to feel like their choices are being judged.
That's it.
So they will immediately jump on like the defense or the offensive of oh, there's something up with you.
That's it.
But yeah.
I mean, other little things as well. Like, have you ever, you know that thing that people do with Guinness? Have you seen that, where they'll order 2 pints of Guinness and then they will drink their first swig, has to get in between the on a Guinness pint glass. You have the word Guinness, and then you have the logo.
Is it or something?
And it's a game to see if you can get it right in the middle. Like your first swig gets right in the middle of that. And I've seen people just blatantly just do that, and they're just chugging. They're just chugging. They're just getting it down. Get that stupid Guinness. Oh, Guinness is good for you. It's got iron in it. Don't be a fucking idiot.
Or like red wine's good for you.
Because it's got antioxidants in it.
Stuff.
Don't be a fucking idiot. It's like these are things that you've heard online.
Propaganda.
It's propaganda, and it's like, and again, if you don't want to, if you're sat there and you don't want to listen to this, great, fucking drink yourself to an early death, because you know that doesn't impact me in the slightest. But maybe there might be a sense of like, hang on a minute, like maybe I could not drink alcohol, right? And maybe I could actually like be a bit more awake in my own life and be like, what is going on here? Do I actually like where I am? Like, do I actually like what's going on?
Do I like the people around me? Like if you're going out with friends at the pub and you're all sat round and everybody's getting on it, everybody's drinking, we're knocking them back, we're all having a laugh. Go and actually order a lime soda, order a blackcurrant soda.
Vimto is very good. Vimto and lemonade is fantastic.
Order a hot Vimto, right? And see how long you can sit amongst these people that you think that are your friends. Yeah. And like see what you can, see how long you can do it.
Watch what happens.
And this doesn't mean that it means that your friends are shit, but it also means like, right, you see a bunch of lads, or like I don't mean to make this about like guys, but you could see it with women as well.
Go on.
You see a bunch of lads drinking, they all find each other hilarious. They're all like, oh my god, like so funny, like haha. And then it's like, you know, girls can do it as well, but it's like, are they actually funny, or are you all just wasted? Like,
or actually, are you all just not drunk? And what you're actually doing is you're using alcohol as a massive facade, so that you think that you can get away with acting like a dickhead.
Yeah.
So to all the people around you, but then it's like, no, it's fine because I was inebriated.
Yeah.
And what do the pubs do? Which I've seen time and time again. you'll see someone who looks like they're causing trouble off their head. They shouldn't be in there. They're really getting ropey, like they're really pushing it. And what do the pubs do? What do the bars
keep serving them.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it until this guy literally starts a fight or something. Because it's like, great, we can push that on them so they get more money, they get more inebriated, they spend more money, they'll spend more money on other people. I'll get the rounds in, like, oh, you having a drink? Let me enable myself to drink by saying, let me get around it. Everything about it. And like, I'm sure, like, with women as well, it's like, you know, I spend a lot of my time playing in bars and pubs and clubs and stuff, so it's like, you see it equally with women. It is totally equal.
Yeah, I was just using lads as if, like,
yeah.
That's just the first thing that came to my mind. If you just see it and you just think, yeah, that's why I was saying, if you just try and not have a drink, and either you'll find yourself feeling very, very uncomfortable, very unsocial, very bored, very like stuff like that, because there's something in you that's not great, but then also you're looking at the people and you're like, oh, like, you do just feel like, oh, what is happening right now? It's really, like, sobering, literally.
You and I have been there, though. I know that I feel like you and I have had tangible moments where we've been either in a pub or we've been in someone's flat amongst around a bunch of people, and there's been moments where we will just, it's like, I can think of loads of times where I'll look around me and be like, why it wasn't like this? It didn't feel like it was like this a couple of months ago. Why is this different?
True.
Why are they acting so stupid? Why are these people acting in the most horrible way? And I don't get it, and it's kind of scary.
Or like, if you're like not drinking, people who assume everyone's drinking, you know, like, if I've gone the pub or anything in recent months, years even, and I get a non-alcoholic drink, but like a non-alcoholic beer, for example, or something, which I'm not opposed to, like, I don't really do it. I haven't done that in a long time, but when I was at the start, I was drinking like 0% Peroni or something like that. But people will see it and just assume you're on the same page as them because they'll think that it's alcohol. And then they'll say or do something, and you think, like, you pull them up on it, or they'll say something not even like nasty, or they'll just say something, and you'll go like, you know, you might have an answer back, or you'll say, oh, well, this is this, and then they're like, oh, like, you're fucking boring. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, no, I'm not playing along with this weird game that you're playing where, like, you're saying these things and I'm just expected to be like, haha, like, no.
It really is disgusting. I mean, like, just try it seriously. Like, look, you could literally go out, and the next time it's the weekend, right? Go out and do what you'd regularly do. Don't drink though, and just see what happens.
Just as an experiment.
I feel like what you'll see very quickly is that you'll realize that in that one step, you're basically taking responsibility for yourself. You're taking back control when you say no to that kind of stuff. And that sounds very wanky, but it's actually very true. And you'll very quickly be like, okay, look, I'm taking responsibility for my own life here. Okay, I'm taking responsibility for the fact that I don't want another weekend where I just piss it away.
Yeah.
And I just
It's not only the night as well, it's like the whole next day you'll spend in bed, you'll feel rough, like.
Say no to that friend that is like, that sees you and it's like, hey, you know, like, oh, you know, I mean, that toxic, I mean, I see it with men more, obviously, because that's my, you know, that's been my demographic more, but that toxic thing of like, oh, you know, like, oh, like, what you drinking, pussy? And it's like, oh, no, I'm not drinking. It's like, oh, pussy, blah blah, like, why aren't you drinking? What's up with you? Oh, blah blah. Oh, is it the missus? Is she saying you're not drinking? It's like, what the fuck is that?
Awful,
you know what I mean? Like, I've seen it, and you see these people, and it's like, if you drink, you're worse than them, because you're just basically giving in to these horrible toxic mindsets, and you're playing into it. And you don't have to. You can sit there and say, no, fuck off, I'm going to basically like take back control, and I'm going to try and do something more constructive, not just for my body as well, but for my mentality,
and also challenge yourself to like have a good time without alcohol. That's a scary thing as well. Like, I've been to so many like events, not that I'm like a socialite, but I've been to so many events, like nights out, or you're going around someone's house or anything like that. And what was I gonna say? What was my point?
I think your point was drinking is bad.
Try and have a good time. That's it. And you know, like, everyone's been there when you go into an event, you go into like a music night, you get there, and you know, the music's playing, and then you're like, right, I've got to knock a few drinks back now to enjoy this. like, what?
I know.
Like,
I know.
I've been there where it's like, oh, that's where everyone does pre-drinks. Like, everyone goes around someone's house, you have a bunch of pre-drinks because you can't even bear the thought of getting to a club or a bar sober, or like being in the queue sober, like, or like, you know, if you're wearing like when you go out and you'd be wearing like nothing, you'd be wearing a short dress, you'd be like, right, I need to actually drink so much now so that I don't even feel the cold.
Yeah, I mean, how horrible is that?
How crazy, like, or like, just like, I can't even bear to get out to the clubs without a solid foundation of alcohol in my system, to just not even feel awkward, to feel like, oh, you get in the club and then it's like, oh, everything's said awkward, no one knows what to do, let's just get pissed and that'll fix everything.
It's really sad, mate.
It's
really
so
sad.
weird, like...
It's horrible to think that it's like, you think that that's what... Then what you do is you think that that's what your social life should be.
Yeah.
You think that your social life is like, well, if I'm with people, it's like, what do you do? Oh, well, we go to the pub. And that's cool because I'm meeting people and I'm having social interactions. And it's like,
we're having stories, like, we're having a good time, like, we're letting loose, we're like, oh, like, chilling, and it's like, no.
Say, you know, it's like, what happened? It's like, is that all you have?
Is that all
is
there
that
is?
I would turn it and be like, is that all that there is? There must be something in you. Maybe you like playing chess. Maybe you like playing video games. But you know, you'd probably never admit that because like you'll probably get ripped for it if you're around a pub table because you know that's great. You know, I remember. Anyway, you know, or maybe you don't. Maybe you like other things. Maybe you like, I don't know, like maybe like race cars, or you like snooker, or you like crochet, or you like you like traveling, or you like some. If that feels like that's a part of you that you want to explore, go and explore it under the premise of like, well, I don't have to go to the pub and just like drink and talk about the past, or talk about how shit life is, or talk about just blasé crap. Go and spend that time that you would be drinking out with people, toxic people, and put it into those things that you're actually passionate about. Maybe you love reading. Maybe you want to go a book club. Maybe you want to read a new book. Maybe you want to write a book.
Increase like your social circles with things that doesn't revolve around drinking.
That's right.
Which, when you actually think about it, is hard.
Yeah,
like,
especially in the UK.
Especially like, I mean, we live in a city as well, so you know, I mean, on our daily walk to the gym, it's about like a 5-minute walk. How many boozers do we pass? How many bars? How many?
Yeah, that's tough.
You know, how many bars? How many pubs do we pass?
Yeah.
Or how many like places do we go past where it's literally like 11 o'clock in the morning and people are already drinking like during the day? Not that like what time you drink makes a difference, but it's just crazy, you know, like we'll pass so much, whereas like, you know, how many like bookshops do we pass? Like how many like, I don't know, wellness centers do we pass? Like, do you know, like when we went to LA and it was like, obviously there's not like a big walking culture in LA, but everywhere we did go, I can't actually remember seeing one club or like one pub
exactly
or one bar.
I don't remember it either.
You would really have to like go looking for it. Because it's just, and again, this isn't like, oh, you know, everything's better in America or anything, because America's obviously got its more than its fair share of problems. But our experience when we were there was like, wow, it's weird to walk places and not see people just absolutely off their face during the day or during the evening.
I know that some people would make the argument in LA, you know, there's places like Skid Row and stuff that are a bit ropey.
Yeah.
But, you know,
obviously like when we went there, we weren't going to Skid Row. We were going to like nice places and stuff, like touristy stuff. But even so, you know,
but with that said, if you
go to touristy stuff in Liverpool, it's all drinking. Well, it's like the Cavern Quarter. It's all pubs. It's all bars.
Go anywhere in the UK. Go anywhere in the you know, and even, you know, I'm not from Scotland or Ireland. You know, I've got Irish blood in me. I mean, that sounds wanky, but like, I know I'm some of my...
No, you have. You have got a lot of family that are Irish.
And you know, what's the whole stigma? What's the whole stereotype of Irish and Scottish people?
They love a drink.
They love a drink, you know, and it's like, and again, you know, I played a gig the other day, and there was an Irish guy in the bar, and I said I don't drink, and he was like, no, what are you having? And I was like, no, I just drink water. And he's like, no, I'm not having that. What are you drinking? Imagine if I said, where do you want me to bum you, mate? And he goes, what? And I say, well, you're getting it either way, mate. So which hole do you want it in? You'd be like, whoa, hang on. It's like, that's not cool. But okay, no, but you force feeding, and everyone's around going, like, yeah, go have a drink. Yeah, what are you having? You know, this big smile on the barmaid, like, what, you know, it's like, no, stop,
and like,
please.
What's sad there is that they might think they're trying to be nice there. They're trying to be like, oh, let's get you a drink in.
I
Like,
don't
that's
think so.
no, but like, I think at the heart of it.
Not when you say I don't drink.
Oh, no,
When
no,
you make
sorry.
that-
I just
when you
mean
set
when
that.
people go like, oh, what can I get you? And you're like, no, I don't drink. I'm like, oh, no, come on. Like, maybe one time being like, no, honestly, because they might think that you're saying no because you don't want them to spend any money on buying you a drink. But then, you know, like,
yeah.
if sometimes
Yeah.
people's, like, the thing can be like, oh, no, like, it's, you know, we want to involve you, we want you to have a, like, hang out with us and stuff. And that's how people hang out. But then, yeah, like you say, when you say, no, I actually really don't drink, that's when it can people turn like a bit like defensive and vicious against you. And
Yeah.
I've never really experienced that, but again, women are just better. Like when I've been out and I've said to female friends that I'm with or anything like that, like, oh no, I'll not drink. Like, it's very rare that anyone will say anything to me. If anything, they might go like, oh, how come you don't drink? And I'll be like, just don't want to. It's just not for me. And they'll go like, oh no, fair. And you know, sometimes it has been a thing where they'll say like, you know, yeah, like I've been thinking like,
Right.
I don't really need to drink, like it's expensive. I do, you know, in my like mid-20s now, I am waking up with a hangover no matter how much I drink. So I'm gonna, you know, and that can feel nice. Not that I feel like that's my like mission in life is to get people to not drink, but it feels nice to not have your decisions be made fun of or anything like that.
Well, it's, I guess, you know, with men as well, it's that thing of like, no, you're a man, you drink.
Masculinity,
that's and the more you can drink, the more masculine you are.
So true.
And it's
like
it's
going
who told you that?
Going on pub crawls, and it's like, oh, like you're keeping up with us all the way, and like you're drinking so much, and it's like, oh my god, it's so bad.
I mean, a pub crawl. Who the fuck him then? Again, it's marketing.
Yeah,
so
literally.
it's you spend all your money in these pubs.
Yeah.
You give them the money. You dull down your senses. You get poisoned.
You get fake social experiences, fake sense of confidence. So you could maybe
but
like.
do you remember that pub crawl we went on? Who gives a fuck
Yeah.
what pub? Like that. Like you're gonna be remembered for all the pub
Yeah.
crawls you went on. You could be, and this is the thing that I think annoys me. I've seen so many people that are like close to me that have been close to us, fucking 50 times more talented than me, and who've got way more to give, and it's like, and you see them and it's like, what you are literally, you're just killing yourself. You are just basically destroying yourself when you could spend about 10% of your total energy just to be like, no, I'm not doing that tonight. Instead, I'm gonna take that time that I'd be pissed, and I'm going to put it into something that I'm really passionate about. And I'm going to start rebuilding my mindset of what it means to be happy in good social circles, knowing what a positive social circle looks like.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend each day just getting a little bit closer to that, so that maybe it'll take a year and maybe it'll take 3 years or 4 years. But then I can look back and be like, you know, all those nights when I could have been out drinking and I could have been out on the piss with my mates, and I could have been trying to chat up some women, and I was making memories and I was doing all that bollocks. It's like
being sick on the street.
Oh yeah,
but how much sick do we pass on the street on a daily basis? It's actually disgusting.
Oh, but it's like, because do you remember that time I got up and did bow rap on the karaoke and absolutely butchered it?
Like, how funny. Like, it's not funny for like the street cleaner the next day who has to come and clean up all of your like mess, and it's not fun for like the people who work at these bars or pubs to have to deal with you being disruptive and stuff like that. Like, who's it really funny for, you know?
And it's like, it's just it's just like you.
I just needed to reset myself there a bit. It's like staring into this deep pit of like, so bad.
I'm gasping. It's like, but it's, you know, people don't realize how much they've got to offer, and they don't realize that they can achieve incredible things, and so much of that does start with little things. You might think that it's like, you might be sat, if you know, it's like you could be sat there and you might have some things going on. You might be struggling a little bit. You might be not where you want to be, and I get that, because we're all there and life is tough. And for some reason though, you think that then going out and drinking is going to help that in any way. It's going to give you any benefit, and you're going to keep repeating that cycle until it gets worse and worse and worse, and you get deeper into that hole. When you could start right now, you could literally say like, okay, look, I'm not going to do that today, and then see how you get on tomorrow, and just take it one day at a time, and instead focus all that energy on all those amazing things that you want to give back. Everybody's got
Yeah.
things that they're interested in. Everyone has passions. Everyone has these things that they love, and that life is very short, and it's great to be excited about life and to think like, oh my god, like what is it that I can go and do? What is it where I don't have to then go and fucking get pissed and drink?
Like people think if you don't drink you're boring, and it's like, oh, like what do you do on a Friday, Saturday night? And it's like
what do you do on a Friday, Saturday night?
Yeah, like there's so many things that I like enjoy. Like I enjoy socializing, I enjoy going places. Like there's nothing that you can't do sober that like you can't do drunk. Do you know what I mean? Like
No.
I still, I'm going to this like disco night with Liv or something next Friday night, and I'm buzzing. Like I can't wait to just like have fun, like dance. I that's the thing I used to love, like going to bars when you'd go like club nights with music themes, and you just have a fun time like dancing, and I really I still enjoy that. But then you feel like so much of it is like kind of toxic because you're around everybody that's drinking. But then it's like, no, I'm not going to let that stop me. Like other people's decisions are like their own. I'm going to go and just be on the like blackcurrant sodas and like enjoying the night sort of thing. And you feel way more empowered being in those situations when you are like making the choice for yourself not to drink. So then it's like you feel in control, you have a good time, you're more aware of yourself.
Definitely.
Like, you're not going to wake up with like anxiety of like, oh, like feeling so awful, like for no reason or for like a good reason, of putting yourself in a position where you're saying and doing things you wouldn't normally do.
That's what I mean. It genuinely just makes you weak in every sense of the word. It does, like, it weakens your mindset, it weakens your social, but it basically
weakens your bank account.
And
like that thing of like, people saying to someone like, okay, if you want to go to the pub and see your friends, do it, but don't drink. Just buy like, get on the lemonades, get on, little cheeky J2O or something, and then put, realistically 50 quid in a pot, because that's probably what you would have spent on like a few rounds. If you've got 4 mates or 5 mates and each one's a fiver, so that's 20 quid, like, that's like 1 round. How many rounds are you going to be buying that night? Like, put the money in a pot and then put that towards something that you actually want.
As well, you're just also in those environments, you're not going to meet anybody that you genuinely are going to want in your life, and it's vice versa. It works if you're in that environment. If you think that you're going to meet someone in a club and that's going to be your partner for life, it's not, because that genuinely isn't. You two aren't going to be the kind of people that you really want in that situation.
I know what you mean.
You're gonna meet your best mate in a pub. It's like, yeah, maybe, and then maybe you'll stay in that pub until you die, and maybe you'll grow old there, and you'll be all drinking buddies, and you'll look back over your life and you'll have achieved nothing because you weren't. Because no, seriously, because you weren't. It's serious. I'm being serious though.
I'm not laughing because you're wrong. I'm laughing because like
you think you're gonna. It's like if we weren't together and I'm single. I'm all right. I can be a catch sometimes. It's like, there are other times where, things get the better of me. My anger for people. But it's like, look at me, right? I don't drink. And this is at the risk of sounding all high and mighty. But you need to think about this from this perspective. Yeah.
What have I got to offer people if I'm here, like, pissed in this pub trying to meet a woman?
But the flip side of it, I walk into like a club. Right, I don't drink, I'm teetotal, I shouldn't even be in that club. I exercise, I look after myself, I look pretty good, I'm healthy, I run my own business, I'm ticking all the boxes right now.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, who do I think I'm going to find in that club that's going to be my life partner?
That's so true.
I get in there and it's like, okay, look, you're off your tits.
Yeah, and you're showing me your tits.
And you're showing me your tits, and to be honest, I'd rather see a sober dick. And it works, it totally works both ways.
That's so true.
I'm not going to see like I'm not like you go into a club, right? And it's like then you see a guy and he's like, he's off his head.
Yeah.
He's
what am I seeing there that I could what?
I hate to do this, but look, the camera's flashing red.
Where?
You see on the little
the battery thing. So it's okay. We should wrap up.
We should probably wrap it up. I was just getting on a roll.
We could really go for rolls, but yeah, we've got a bit of a limited battery supply thing today.
Yeah.
But
just for today, so we'll have to wrap it up a bit earlier.
Think about what you're worth. Think about the value you've got, and think, what would life be like if you weren't hungover on a Saturday and you weren't being around people that make you feel like you need to drink.
Mm-hmm.
That's my closing argument.
I love it. You've got so much to offer. You've got so many good things about you. You're incredibly special, and you've got so much to offer the world. And alcohol is only taking you for a ride, and it's killing you a little bit at a time that you're not seeing. Just try it for a day, and then try it for another day, then another day.
Try it for this weekend.
See if you can do it this weekend, and invest your time into something that you're passionate about. Rediscover yourself. Rediscover life without that horrible lens of alcohol. And I guarantee it's only going to just change your life for the better.
Love it. Okay,
we'll
Thanks
wrap it up
for everyone
there.
for listening.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for listening.
Let us know if you think we're full of shit. Let us know if you didn't drink and you're feeling good about it. Let us know if you didn't drink and it was the shittest night ever.
Can we get sober dick trending? Hashtag sober dick. Sober dick.
Hashtag I can't think of anything.
Yeah. Anyway,
that'll do for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll say our goodbyes. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. See you later.